The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the top stories of the hour. The Supreme Court has denied the request to temporarily halt the mandatory SIM registration. But while the court rejected the bid for a temporary restraining order or TRO against the measure, it ordered respondents to comment within 10 days on the petition, which seeks to declare the SIM Registration Act as unconstitutional. Among the respondents are telco companies and concerned government agencies, such as the National Telecommunications Commission, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, as well as the National Privacy Commission. The petition, initially filed by the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines et al., said the SIM Registration Act violated the public's right to free speech and privacy. Telcos welcome the government's move to extend the deadline for the mandatory SIM registration for 90 days. Smart Communications says the extension would give them more time to campaign for SIM registration. Smart also said a discussion with concerned government agencies are still ongoing. Globe Telecom, meanwhile, says it applauds the move, saying this would give unregistered customers more time to comply with the law. However, a group of digital advocates condemns the DICT's plan to limit services for SIMs that remain unregistered within the 90-day period. Digital Pinoy say the agency should stop inventing procedures that are not helpful and are not part of the SIM registration law. For her part, Senator Grace Poe, who sponsored the SIM Registration Act and is chairman of the Committee on Public Services, said that telcos and the NTC must ensure they reach rural and remote areas. The DICT reports that around 52% of SIMs have been registered. As of yesterday, April 24, the initial deadline for SIM registration. That's 87.4 million out of the over 168 million subscribers in the country. Let's talk more about this with National Telecommunications Commission Deputy Commissioner John Paulo Salvajan. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Sir Diego, and good morning to our televiewers.
Okay, sir, Senator Grace Poe called on the telcos and NTC to double the efforts in reaching out to our subscribers in rural areas. What exactly is the NTC doing about the SIM registration with regards to that matter, sir?
Yes, Sir Diego, the NTC, together with other relevant government agencies, have been conducting this facilitated SIM registration, wherein we go to the remote areas or areas which have no or weak signal, so that we could assist our kababayans to register their SIMs. We bring in the telcos and they set up booth so that our kababayans could line up there and have themselves assisted in registering their SIMs.
Yes, aside from what you mentioned, Commissioner, that there are problems with signals in the far-flung areas, what are the other challenges that you have identified that are hampering the SIM registration?
Well, most of the concerns that we encounter is the low turnout of registering subscribers. Even though the local government units have been active in encouraging the residents, their constituents, in going to these areas, just a few hundred or 1,000 will come in to have their SIMs registered. And in those numbers, there are a few also which do not have their own IDs. And that's probably one of the main reason why a few could not register their SIMs.
But what initially, sir, is the target of the government after the 90-day extension? Percentage of subscribers registered by then? Because I think the Commission earlier said you're not looking at 100%. Is that correct?
Yes, realistically speaking, we do not look at to register the entire 168 million number of active SIMs. Please remember that these do not refer to the number of people having SIMs, right? It equates to the number of SIMs, wherein a certain individual could have a number or multiple SIMs. But around that number, that 168 million, looking at from the experiences in other countries, we are looking at probably around 70% of that number to register, which is around 100 to 110 million.
Okay, and one of the goals of the SIM registration is to curb or lessen the spam messages that people receive and the text scams. Has the Commission observed already a decrease in these spams and scams since the SIM registration was rolled out?
That's correct, sir. When we started implementing the SIM registration last December 27, we've seen a significant decrease in reported or complaints about receiving text scams or fraudulent messages from as high as about 1,500 prior to the implementation of the SIM registration. It went down to around 100 to 150 on a daily basis.
Okay, that's good. And most telcos say the ID requirement is a hurdle for the SIM registration. How should this be addressed, sir?
Our usual answer to that is the law has identified a number of IDs, 16 IDs to be exact. So you just need at least one of those 16 IDs. And to top it off, the law has even provided a catch-all provision wherein you could also present other valid government-issued ID with photos. So, like a barangay ID, as long as it has the photo of a subscriber, it is accepted by the SIM registration platforms of the telcos.
Okay, sir. There was an issue about people saying that the printout of the national ID, not the laminated one but the printed one, is not accepted sometimes. If you click on the Philippine ID field in the registration website, hindi tinatanggap po ang printout ng national
Printout.
ID. Yes.
Well, we will coordinate that with the telcos. Hopefully, it's just a matter of baka the printed version is hindi lang maayos yung pagka-print. Yeah, so we will coordinate that with the telcos for them to accept the printed versions of these ID, as long as the ones that they are presenting are authentic printed copies, Sir Diego.
Yes, the one mismo, sir, from the
PSA.
From the PSA, correct. Sir, there are posts on social media that mga ibang subscriber po na walang actual valid ID, nagpaparegister sila sa mga friends nila o kakilala nila. Tapos may bayad po. Have you investigated this, and are really may nangyayari po bang ganito?
Well, we haven't heard that report. No, there wasn't a report submitted to us, but what we can say about it is that is not allowed under the SIM Registration Act. Because what is allowed is if you're the subscriber, you have to register for yourself and you have to provide the personal data, your own personal data and information. You cannot use the identity or the data or information of your friend or whoever to have your SIM registered. If you use that, that could be construed as a submission of a wrong or fictitious data or information for which the law provides a penalty.
Okay, sir, linawin ko rin din, kasi madami nagtatanong. For example, may mga anak na wala pang ID. Allowed ba yung parent na siya mag-register on behalf of the child, pero yung information ilalagay, what will the info na ilalagay? Pangalan ng parent or the name of the child?
Yes, as long as the child is a minor, no, below 18 years old, the registration, as mandated by law, should be under the name of the parent or the legal guardian.
Okay.
So, yung pangalan po ng magulang ninyo o ng legal guardian ninyo, yun po ang kailangan nakarehistro doon sa SIM nyo kapag kayo po ay minor de edad.
Okay, sir. So, in other words, sinasabi niyo po, basta related ka, anak mo. Pwede ba, sir, for example, you live in one house with your parents mo na medyong PWD na, hindi na walang ID. So could you also do that on behalf of people in your house who are members of the family na walang access or walang IDs?
So the one, to clarify, sir, the one using the SIM is the PWD.
Correct.
Tama po ba?
Correct, sir.
Opo. Yes, yung PWD po na yon, pwede siyang magpa-assist do sa member of the household para ma-register po siya. But the registration itself of the SIM should be under the name of that PWD.
Okay. And sir, we were speaking about yung mga nagbabayad, no? Ano po ang risk or ano po yung punishment na ipapataw sa taong mapatunayan na yung ID nga nila ay hindi nila ID at nagbayad lang sa ibang tao?
Yes, kung may ganun pong ano no, meron pong corresponding penalty under the law, that is submitting false or fictitious data or information. And I just couldn't recall right now what is the penalty, specific penalty provided for by law, but definitely there's a penalty for that, for submitting false or fictitious information. There's also a penalty if you sell or transfer your SIM without complying with the required registration, meaning if you don't transfer the registration of the SIM under your name, if you bought or if you are the transferee of the SIM, there's also a corresponding penalty for that, sir.
Buti sir, nabanggit niyo about the transferring. Na for example, I buy a unit from somebody else na kasama ang SIM card na registered already. Ano yung steps na pwedeng gawin para do we cancel the registration of the previous old SIM at i-re-register with a new owner?
Yes, they have to coordinate with the telcos po for the transfer of registration. The telcos are aware po of this mechanism, and they provided that mechanism through their branches. So you have to transfer po yung registration ng SIM. Otherwise, you'll be exposed to penalty.
All right, thank you very much, NTC Deputy Commissioner John Paulo Salvan, for joining us this morning on One News.
Thank you also, Sir Diego, and good morning po.
All right, I think right now we have President Bongbong Marcos delivering a speech regarding the Balikatan exercises. Let's listen in.
Sir, currently the range is cold because of a safety issue. There is because of the interloper that has been reported. We are waiting for the range to clear once the interloper has left the opera box.
Third Mardiv job, this is Tipsy.
Go ahead, Sipsy.
At this time, I am tracking one remaining air interloper break. MLR is assessing. They'll be out of the airspace shortly. Break. And they have just called Kobe request slaughter.
Roger, standby. Roger, confirms slaughter.
Roger, tracking slaughter from Third Mardiv, slaughter. Now that the range has been cleared, the HIMARS is ready. An updated target location will be sent from the Marine Littoral Regiment to the ADOC Ford located next to the 6th Sea. From that, the fire mission information will be sent to the Fire Direction Center down at NetDC and then subsequently submitted to the launcher. This will be a win-ready mission.
Third Marine Division, Jock, Roger.
Has now sent the fire mission to the ADOC Ford located next to the 6th Sea, and that mission has been received. That has been currently being processed and will be sent down to NetDC shortly.
Sir, to explain, the range is now green. The CFC will now process the kill chain, and they will send the order directly to the firing battery. So right now, they're going through all the safety procedures to ensure that the Opera Box is safe. And once the CFC has given the approval, they will release the round of the HIMARS.
Please, 1009.
The fire mission from the ADOC Ford has been sent down to the Fire Direction Center at NetDC.
Currently, right now, the order from the CFC has been sent to the Fire Direction Center for firing.
Recording is on.
Sir, that was the last remaining 5 rounds from the HIMARS. After target confirmation, we will shift to artillery fire. The HIMARS will extricate from their fighting position, and the crew of the combined artillery of the AFP and the United States will be proceeding to their fighting positions.
You just witnessed President Marcos's attendance at the live fire exercises between the U.S. and Philippine troops in San Antonio, Zambales. He observed the firing of a rocket launcher called the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, or HIMARS, that can be used to hit distant targets. The combined joint exercises under this year's Balikatan will run until 4 p.m. today. Over 17,000 Filipino and American troops are joining the 38th iteration of the Balikatan exercises. Keep it here on One News for the full story. And that's it for this hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 11:15 a.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.